Hey, what's up? It's Sean Baligian.
What up? This is Joique Bell here on the Baligian and Bell Show.
Make sure you check us out on the Woodward Sports Network. What is up? So glad you could join us wherever you may be. It is Woodward Sports. He's Joique Bell. I'm Sean Baligian. Instead of getting the pleasantries out, we are very happy to be joined by this guy. This guy, I think high school fans around here will remember what a stud he was at Crockett. Obviously started at the University of Michigan, and it's crazy. Been in the league now for a while with the Philadelphia Eagles, including winning a Super Bowl. Let's bring him in. Brandon Graham kindly joining us. First of all, Brandon, really appreciate the time this morning. How are you, bud?
Oh, man, I'm doing good. Just enjoying the beginning of the off season, kind of getting back, helping the wife take care of the kids.
How long does it take to recuperate for you, man? I mean, Joique and I were talking about this yesterday. You know, the bye week helps during the season, but I mean, the wear and tear on the body. How long is that recuperation period for you after the year?
I usually try to wait till the season's over, but this time around, I'm doing a lot of maintenance, stretching, trying to activate some of those smaller muscles that I kind of got away from during the season. Trying to make sure that I just don't sit around and just get big because I like to eat, so I can't just.
That happens, right? And you know what though? When you retire, it's all right. Just sit back, kick your feet up, relax a little bit. But I don't know what it is. BG, you found the fountain of youth, man. You found it. Me and you came out together 2010, right? So me and BG actually met while we were both in college. So he would come up to Wayne State for the Sound Mind, Sound Body football camps, and that's where we initially met through Daryl Graham, and end up going to the Senior Bowl together. We both started when he got Defensive Player of the Game for the Senior Bowl. He was a man. Oh, he took over, and we actually played together in Philly, and so it was good times with BG, man. And this year, you put up some good numbers. You had 48 tackles. You had 8 sacks. 11 assists. Going into this season, what was your mindset?
Get up on that wall. Try to get to the Pro Bowl. You know, like you said, when we played together, you walk past that wall every day. You seen guys up on that wall as Pro Bowlers, and that was the only wall I didn't get up on. And so that was my mindset all off season. I gotta get to the Pro Bowl, but I said I wasn't gonna play in it because I thought we had the team to take it all the way again this year. But COVID. That's all I can really say is, man, COVID for everybody.
Yeah, how difficult was that, man? You know, there was that point in time, I remember in July, sitting there going, are we even going to play this thing? You know, how is this going to work this year? That's the one thing people aren't taking into consideration. I mean, how would you even describe what it was like this season compared, you know, to the last 10 years being in Philly?
You really had to manage your time. That's the biggest thing because you got to come in and test from 6 to 10, whatever it was. Then we wasn't allowed in the building until it was time to go practice. So that was a little different. So everything was virtual. So being at home, if you fall asleep in the meeting, oh man, you're gonna get fined because can't nobody wake you up. It's obvious. It was a couple fun little things that happened in our room. That you normally would get a friend, somebody to be able to tap you, or you know how it go, Joique, when you in them meetings.
Oh yeah.
But when you virtual meetings, was a little different this year, and you don't get that personal personal vibe that you get with your teammates from being around each other all year. So that was just a lot different because when we come in, we go practice from 12 to 2. And then after that, you shower up, and then you got meetings around 4:30. So they give you time to get home, and then you normally be done for the day around 5:30, 6 o'clock, depending on the meetings that you have to go to.
Okay. Um, really quick. Uh, we had Jamar Agnew on yesterday. We talked about that team camaraderie, all right, and you guys are lacking that right now due to the COVID. Now, what things can you guys do as a team to kind of build your bond away from the facility without breaking protocol?
Um, Really just FaceTime and just it was different this year, man. They really didn't want us around each other or in a big group together because people definitely was coming in sometimes and contracting COVID from other things that they was doing. And I mean, sometimes it's just from picking your food up to it could have happened anywhere. So we really wanted to try to stay safe, and it was tough, man, because normally we have our committee of players that go and go and talk to coach and say, hey, coach. The team not feeling good today, no pads, and so we couldn't do those meetings to hear coach's message to relay it to the team. Your leaders of your team, your football team, you usually meet and we go down and we hear what coach got to say, and he tell us what the message is for the week, whatever team we playing, and then we just go out and talk to the younger guys and everybody that's in the locker room, let them know what coach is thinking, and we just go. Well, we couldn't do that this year, and that's what I felt our coach was good at, and so he wasn't able to do what he normally was really good at was building that family and that welcoming, especially for some of the new players that came this year.
Brandon Graham kindly joining us, of course, pride of Crockett, University of Michigan, and now the Philadelphia Eagles. You mentioned it, BG. I mean, this is a weird year for you guys. You're not that far removed from winning a Super Bowl with Coach. Coach Schwartz said he was going to walk away from it. Tell me the impact both those guys had on it. You know, people here in Detroit, Coach Schwartz has a special place in our heart. He took this team to the playoff and everything, but what kind of impact did they have on you?
I had Schwartz for like 5 years now, and man, he was somebody that came in and changed it all around for me. I had went from playing the 4-3 to the 3-4, and I was almost an afterthought. And then he come in, and man, we go out and we win the second year he's there a Super Bowl, and it was something special. The way he coached, the way he is as a person, I'll never forget him. We connected now for life because we got that Super Bowl together. So I know that coach, he really put all his blood, sweat, and tears in it, and it's real important to him. And it sucks because I know that he had a lot of injuries and stuff that was catching up to him. A lot of eye surgeries that he had to have this offseason I didn't know about. He's been through some things, so I really I'm a really miss Swartz because he was a really great coach, great person, and somebody that I can't wait till they tell his story.
Good, good. I have a lot of respect for Coach Schwartz. Um, so he ended up going there after he left Detroit. He went to I think was he
Buffalo
yeah,
and then Philly.
and
Yeah.
then Philly, right?
Yep.
And so really quick, and I see you have a lot of respect for him, right? But I'm sitting here looking at some of the
Yeah.
charity work that you're doing, all right? And I want to get into that as well. But what did this off season like? What do you have in store for this offseason? What's your main goal? What is your focus going into this particular offseason, seeing that we're still dealing with COVID? How are you training right now?
Well, we can. I'm hoping that we can get like some type of normal back because man, just thinking about just me and the wife talking this morning, we was talking about the camp and what we're going to do this year. If things open up, how you want to handle it, and really, it's just all about giving back during this time. That's what I feel. Trying to make sure
For
that
sure.
people get some of the necessities that they need, um, especially during this time of people that can't work, and just trying to come up with different things to keep people with that hope, keep that hope, because I know COVID has stopped a lot for all of us. We all adjusting, and some people better than others, but I feel like right now is a time of giving and trying to help, especially because it's something that we all can't control, but we all can help by wearing our masks, going out there, making sure that we stand safe until this thing is over, and hopefully we get back to being able to at least be cordial at different places and be able to mix and mingle at the games, because that's something you miss on the field, man. Joique, you ain't never seen it before, man, but it's crazy. Just thinking about we out there, we got to create our own energy, and sometimes you can tell if your team close or not, because now you gotta do it. Do y'all like each other or do y'all not? Are y'all rooting for each other or not? Sometimes the fans can mask all that and be the ones that kind of keep you in the game and keep you hyped, but now it was on us, and that's what we had to learn as a team, and I felt like we got better as the season went on.
You know what's funny about that though? When you're in practice, the defense is usually always hype. They bring that type of energy. In offense, we're just more chill. We're more chill. We make a good play. We'll chirp a little bit, but we're gonna go back to the huddle. We're not gonna talk too much. Nowadays, with this past season, like, you have to have that energy for your teammates, right? And that's one thing that we did have when I played, right? So we fed off each other. I remember we were playing the Patriots in preseason, and I had a good run. I broke a couple tackles. I hit the sideline, and I remember Nick Fairley ran up to me, and then he kind of gave me a shoulder bump, but he hit me harder than any player on the Patriots at the time. And I ran back to the huddle. I'm like, man, but in my head, I'm like, golly, that was a hard hit. Like, relax, Nick Fairley. And so, but talking with him, though, after the play, he said that when he watched me run, it gets him hype. And that's what you guys have to have now, right? And that's every team. And that's, like you said, you can tell if a team is close by the way they interact with the players or their teammates on the sideline, right? And so it's a lot of truth to what he's saying, right? Real quick, Brandon Graham, everybody, you can follow Brandon Graham at sack_55 on Instagram. And real quick, if people want to follow you and see what you're doing in the community, do you have a website that they can go to, or just follow your page? They can see everything there.
Oh yeah, I got my teamgram55.com website. If you guys want to follow me or just know what I got coming up, we keep it up to date every year, all the time, and we got some cool stuff coming up, especially if things go back to normal. But teamgram55.com, and then on Instagram you can follow our Instagram handle too, teamgram55, and that's all together. And so I really just appreciate y'all having me on, man, because I'm telling you, it's some good stuff that you're doing, man, because I promise you inspire me for when I'm done, because I want to get into the commentating and stuff like this, the podcasts and the shows, whatever I feel, what kind of, whatever, just kind of connect. And so I feel like I'm connected to this. And so, man, I appreciate you.
Man, that means a lot. That means a lot. Real quick, anything that you have going on with your charity, regardless if it's in Philly or if it's in Detroit, let me know. I'll try to make myself available. I'll be there. I always support you, and I've always looked up to you, man. Always. So this is this is stuff you can't get.
No, this is great.
You can't get this stuff.
I'm listening to you two. This is beautiful.
Yeah, you just stay out of it, Sean.
Yeah.
if it's good just to catch up with the homie, man, because it's been so long, man, since I've been there. But you know what? That brotherhood, it never leaves. Yep. So we even had a Zoom line where a lot of players from all over the league will hop on, and we'll get on there and just kind of, it's like an inspirational conversation that it'll be with me, Brandon Graham.
That was cool.
Be on there. Yeah, it was great. We had was that Pastor E.T. Was E.T. Eric Thomas.
E.T.
Stephen
Tulloch.
all these guys, and it's about 30 to 40 people on these Zoom calls. We would just kind of sit back and we had these conversations. We had that camaraderie, and it's kind of like us feeding positivity into one another. And so we need to start those back up because it really helps to kind of stay in tune. It's like former players and players who are still playing. So yeah, man, I appreciate that. Thanks for coming on, my guy. We'll tap in.
Oh yeah, man.
I'm gonna follow your.
What'd you say?
You got it.
No, no, no. I was just saying, no, man. It was cool, like just doing that because, like you say, man, you missed the locker room talks and and just the bond that you build with some of these players. And so sometimes when you're not playing, some people can be going through a lot of things because they don't know the next step. And so it was cool to have those meetings because we all go through it and we all kind of can tell our story on how we got through it, and maybe it helped the next man so that he could be prepared for what's to come, And so that's what I definitely feel you, man. On we need to keep that going. We need to talk to Tulloch and them and see when it's coming back.
Yeah, for sure. I had a question for you, real quick. If you can give, I'm not even gonna say younger guy advice. I'm gonna say if you could give your younger self advice now, coming in your rookie year, what would it be?
If I could give my younger self now, start eating right earlier than than just now, because I feel like you said I got the formula. All I started doing was eating better, and that weight came up off me, and I started moving a lot better. And I'm like, man, I should have been doing this. People been told me, but I just couldn't put the Coney Island down, couldn't put the grilled chicken pita down, none of that,
Hey,
So
hey,
so
Detroit
yeah,
won.
if I tell my younger self that eat better, yeah, Detroit won. You already know on Woodward.
Oh.
Some of us still can't put that
Yeah.
Cody down, so I can relate to that.
All right, so I'll give you a rundown real quick. So my freshman year, I think, had to be your freshman year too. So we're about 18, 19. And so what we'll do is when we go out to, like, say, the club in Detroit or something, and we're not old enough to get into MGM because that's the only thing that's open, everybody would go to Detroit 1. Downtown, right on Woodward.
Yep.
And we'll always go there, and it will always be live every single week, and it'll always be live. It's so live that after like 1:30 they stop taking to-go orders because everyone's in there and they're two-packed.
Yeah.
And so we always go to Detroit 1. I get the Detroit 1 special grilled chicken pita, like he said. I grab that. They have a great cheeseburger in the wings. I'm telling you, all flats well done.
What I'm having for lunch.
All flats well done. You know what it is.
Man. Oh man, you just said it right there. And sometimes you will get that in one set, and you'll get the burger, you get the chili dog or the coney dog, and then you get a grilled chicken pita because you might have been drinking a little bit and you hungry, you just ready to eat.
Yeah, just a tad.
Hey, Brandon, while we have you, obviously you're a Michigan guy through and through. Got to get your take on what transpired last night. I'm sure you watched it. Alabama taking it to Ohio State. What's your takeaway from that?
That's how I wish we could do it at Michigan because it felt good seeing that. Because I know a lot of guys was talking a lot of stuff before the game, and I was hyped to see Alabama go out there and handle business. Even though I'm always rooting for the Big Ten, but it's hard to root for Ohio State when we ain't beat them.
Right. You know what though, and it's funny that me and Sean talked about that because in the GLIAC, whenever a school from the GLIAC goes to the national level, representing the GLIAC, we always pull for that team, even though we might hate them. Like for me, it was Grand Valley. I didn't, I didn't like Grand Valley at all, but I had respect for them.
Yep.
And so whenever they went to the final, I would always want them to win to bring it back to the GLIAC because I always wanted to play the best. And I wanted the best to always come from the GLIAC, right? And so, when we talk about the Big Ten, is it like that in the Big Ten? Because that's not the vibe that we get from the Big Ten.
Not as much because they got a lot of money to toss around. They cash kings in the Big Ten. They they do well for themselves, but I feel like just that Ohio State I root for Michigan State over Ohio State any day. But it's just something about it, man. I've grew to really learn this rivalry, and yeah, we want to bring it back because, like you say, it's you want to play the best. But we know Ohio State's been really good, and we haven't been too much these past years. But I know that it's coming back. But it's just it's good competition. It's all love at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, for
like
sure.
not like how you just said. They I feel like it's more so. No, I just can't do it. I can't put it in my heart to say, "Oh, I'm rooting for Ohio State." You know what I'm saying?
I feel you. I respect it. I respect it. You know yourself. You know yourself. Good.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Brandon, really appreciate the time. I think I speak for a lot of people. You know how people are in Detroit. People are always going to watch you. People are always going to consider you one of us. You are one of us. Continued success to you, man.
Oh, I'm not done
No, I
talking.
appreciate
you're
y'all,
not done
man.
talking
No.
here? All right, me and Pete.
No. We got some
Let's
stuff to
go.
talk about, Sean. We got some stuff to talk about. Now,
Hey,
so like
we got
he's
some
home.
stuff.
He's homebred, right? You're homebred, right? So, growing up, right? You love football. What was your favorite team? Who did you look up to? When you was playing in the backyard with your friends, who were you? Who you pretending to be?
I was Ray Lewis. I was Ray Lewis. That's what because I played middle linebacker, and so Ray Lewis was the guy that I wanted to just hit, just like I wanted to go out there and just be feared in those games, and that's that you don't have that mindset right off the rip, but you want to be him, and that's who I was for the most part. Couldn't really catch or do little stuff that I like really wanted to do, like receiver stuff. I always wanted to go out there, be a receiver, running back, but really I was a defensive player, just wanted to get to the ball. But Ray Lewis was my guy, and the Lions for sure was grew up Lions fan, grew up Michigan fan. Period. Because my dad and me, we did a lot of. He would cut my hair, and we watched the games. We watched Michigan on Saturday. On Sunday, we watching the Lions. Many heartbreaking years, but at the same time, we was loyal every year. Still wishing for them.
Yeah.
Even now, if we wasn't in the playoffs and they was there, that's a team I would root for because I know that parade gonna be crazy. They're gonna tear that
Yeah.
city up.
Just gonna tear it up.
Oh man, if they bring it, ooh, man, I know how Philly was. Philly was great. I would love to see Michigan bring that home one of these.
Man, I'm telling
But
you,
Detroit-
if the Lions were to bring it home, it's going to stretch from downtown GM building on Woodward, probably here to Birmingham.
All the way up to Pontiac.
Yeah, probably
I
so.
mean, people like me that watch the Lions at the Silver It's
Birmingham.
like, I'm gonna drive out
Yeah.
there, man, just okay. You know what? I'm exercising these demons. I mean, really, that's what a lot of people.
You exercising all the demons?
I'm exercising all the drinking, double fisting all the way, man. Are you kidding me?
Man.
You driving a boat?
Yeah.
He driving a boat, bro.
Hey, let me tell you, you better pace yourself because when we was on that was one thing for the Super Bowl parade, man. I started so fast. By the end, I was done because people was
You was
throwing beer. They was throwing balls, all kind of stuff. The sign, you throw it back in the stands, man. It was something that I never experienced before. I hope to do it one more time before I get out of here. But man, Detroit definitely need that type of fun because that made a lot of people happy in that city.
Two things. Before I say Detroit wins it, you got to come back for it because you always going to be a Detroiter. You got to come back for it.
Man.
And then,
Oh, I will be back.
back.
I will be rolling beers onto the blimp, onto the everything.
for sure.
I'm
And
downtown.
for sure. And then last thing, and before we leave, I wanted to touch on this real quick because me and you played. You're on your 11th year, going to year 12. I was blessed enough to get 7, and I asked you what was the one thing that you would tell your younger self. I remember when I played, they would have different programs that I would do in the off season. So one year I did an internship for 3 weeks at University of Maryland through the NFL PA. I did the media sports broadcast boot camp. I did the sports media boot camp. I did the what else did I do? I did the business school at the University of Michigan. So I did these programs every year to kind of see what I wanted to do once I finished. And you can probably only do like 1 or 2 off season due to having to be back for the off season workouts. What are they doing now due to COVID with these type of programs? Are they online? Are they still doing it? How is the NFLPA contacting you guys and giving you guys information?
Well, that's I know Zoom has been the biggest thing. Even with us, with the Pro Bowl stuff, it's like Zoom stuff. So I think that's what Zamir was telling me, that everything will be Zoom, or things get better because of some of the stuff the dates that they have. That's summertime. By the summer, they will probably still keep the programs, alive, but mostly Zoom stuff. And I think, just like you said, like when you do those things, how long are they? Like, are they like a week, 2 weeks? Like, how are the boot camps or a weekend?
Yeah. So for instance, when I did the internship, it was 3 weeks. You go Monday through Friday. You have the weekends off. I did mine at the University of Maryland with the athletic department. When they have the sports media boot camp and the broadcast boot camp, those I actually both held at Bowling Green, and they have the whole setup there, and that's like a 3.5 day event, like a 3.5 day event. And then when they have the business school one at the University of Maryland, at the University of Michigan, that's another 3.5 day boot camp. So you get in that night, and then you go 2 hard days of straight just information. You're in there for about 12 hours. It's like real deal. You're in there. There's like no breaks, except when you go eat. And then you have like the last day is the half a day, and you get your certificate through the program on what you completed. And so it's all these different things that I was able to do, and I was able to weed out, okay, what did I like, what don't I like. And it's kind of good to do it regardless, just to see what you like. I almost did the acting one that was held in L.A. and I was like, I might be an actor. I might do it, but I was like, no, that's not really me.
Yep.
You golfing yet?
Yep. Oh yeah, that's one thing we could do too, man. Like the wife was just telling me, just being here in Philly, we got 2 by us, and she wanted me to go get a feel of how they are, how it, just how the 2 different places are, which one is more welcoming and stuff like that. Because you just want to be a part of a good one if you can. But yeah, man, I'll be out there. I seen you knock that thing. Trust me, I watched you, boy. I was like, that thing's great. It looked good too.
Yeah, it looked good.
Like, man, that
you know what?
Shot.
You know what though? I want you to come to my golf outing. I want you to come to my golf outing.
When is
if everything clears up? It'll be after your mandatory mini camp. If you guys, I think we should be. I think we might be back by then. So it'll be after that. It's like the weekend of June 17th. So it starts on June 17th and ends on the 20th of June. So it's a whole weekend. It's dope. It's gonna be dope. I'll shoot you the info right on the water. You'll like
it. Shoot it to me.
Yeah, I'll get you all the information. Everybody, Brandon Graham, BG, the All-Pro, the Fountain Youth.
Appreciate you, Brandon. Thanks for the time, man. Continued success, and enjoy some time with your wife and kids, huh?
No, I appreciate you, man. Thank y'all for having me on your show.
Man,
all right.
Anytime. Come on anytime, my guy.
Brandon Graham, how cool is that? I mean, Detroit guy through and through. Make no mistake about that, Joique. Boy, I'll tell you what, that's going to be a fun golf outing. We'll be talking about that. Your golf outing in June, and certainly we'll be out there. Whatever you need.
Yeah.
We got your back. There's no doubt about that.
And for sure. So it's funny. So I literally just had a meeting yesterday with the superintendent of Benton Harbor area schools and the company or the organization Beyond Basic. And I introduced the president and owner of that company to the superintendent of Benton Harbor. And we was able to have a discussion about how we can collab together. And the reason for my golf outing is to pay for that program to be brought to Benton Harbor area schools. Right? Cool. And so we was able to sit down and have a conversation, and majority of the funding will be coming from the golf outing. So I have a lot of positive people coming, a lot of athletes, a lot of business partners, a lot of influencers. So it should be a lot of fun this year. We should raise a lot of money to get as many kids as possible in the program.
Looking forward to it. June 17th through June 20th. So be listening for that, and maybe how you can be a part of it as well and help out a great cause. Listen, we got so much to do today. We're like overdue for a break. But I want to tell you, we have Rip Hamilton coming up at about 11:45 in about 15 minutes. Obviously, we have to talk about what transpired last night. We were right about the offense part. It was mostly one-sided, but we were right about the offense part, and it just going over. Something tells me Alabama may have been able to go over last night as well. Lots of stuff to get into. Don't you go anywhere. This is Woodward Sports. He's Joique Bell. I'm Sean Baligian.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We're recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand.
Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10 and a half months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
Hire a graduate of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
So what is up? Glad you could join us. Joique Bell, Sean Baligian. It is Woodward Sports. As I mentioned, Rip Hamilton is going to be joining us. Another guy that, even though he's not from here, he's a Detroiter for life. I think he knows that. He gets the pass. I'll double check with Joique to make sure, but something tells me that he's going to get the pass. You know what I want to say about Brandon Graham? And again, to my Michigan friends out there, I'm not being disrespectful when I say this, but those first couple of years of Rich Rod were just so difficult to watch. It really was. And, I said this back then, and I'll say it now. It was really weird to watch Michigan, Joey Tape and Joique. It was really weird to watch Michigan just not be Michigan because Joique, I have mad respect for Michigan. I mean, from 1969 to 2007, they were arguably the most consistent program in all of college football. I mean, they just won and won and won. Not all the way to the top more often than not. They only got to experience that in 97. But you knew, set your watch to it, they were going to be in for the Big Ten. They were going to, be a top-notch team. I mean, just model of consistency. And I'll tell you what, those first couple of years of Rich Rod were just, I mean, it was ugly. There's no other way to say it. But I'll tell you what, there was one shining point, and it was that guy. And everybody had to be aware of where that guy was on the field. As ugly and bad as those teams were the first couple of years, you better know where Brandon Graham is, because if you don't, he's going to let you know where he is.
That's period. He was a monster. And I didn't really get a chance to see how big of a monster he was until we were able to get to the Senior Bowl, because we basically played every day at the same time. And if we won, I'm going to celebrate with the team, so I'm not catching the U of M game. But I knew who he was, though, just because of our interaction and because of our circle. But when I played with him, when I tell you this guy's explosive, they gotta whip him at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. And, as Steve said, Lloyd Carr had him up there every year. I mean, they were. I tell people all the time, their down year from 1969 to 2007 was 6-6. And the reason they went 6-6 is because their starting quarterback got injured, a guy by the name of Jim Harbaugh. Maybe you've heard of him.
Yeah, maybe.
But I mean, really, it was, and I think that's why, and if Spartan fans are being honest, you know what a lot of it stems from? It was jealousy. I openly admit it. You watched Michigan, you were like, I want to be that. I want to, you might not win the Big Ten every year. It might be Ohio State, then it might be Iowa, but Michigan's going to be back in that mix. And so, it was, at the same time, I'm not going to lie, the Spartans were kind of going like this. I was happy. At the same time, being the college football purist, it was like, this is weird. What's going on at Michigan? It's not like this. But that guy made his presence known. He was, one shining a beacon during an otherwise ugly, bleak kind of era, the Rich Rod era.
Hey, at the same time, that's why he went out. That's why he went in the draft first round.
Yep.
And then with the same team for 11 years, which is very rare.
You got that right.
Which is very rare in this league. That's like, I'm not going to call it a unicorn. It's something like a polar bear. something like that.
Well, I mean, you know what, Joique, you bring up such a good point because even, you know what, look at the stars. There are stars that don't do that. I mean, flat out studs that don't do that. Yeah. So you're right. It's and that's not to say he's not a stud, but you get my point. You know, guys just don't stay the same place.
The 11 years at one team is more like a quarterback number. You know, like Aaron Rodgers, Big Ben, those type of guys, or kickers, punters.
Sure.
And sometimes punters don't stay with the team that long. You know. And even when playing at a high level, like Sam Martin with the Lions, I mean, playing well, played here for 6-7 years, and then let him go. That's amazing.
You know, it's so funny because you're right. I think quarterbacks have a tendency to do that, but you take a look at some of like the stud running backs. Okay, in the last 20-25 years, Emmitt Smith barely made it. Right, if I'm not mistaken, I think Emmitt played 12 in Dallas, and then he was gone. You know, he took off. I mean, think about stud running backs. You know, Curtis Martin, Frank Gore is a guy that's always consistently got it done, but they keep bouncing around. So, kind of tells you the work that he's doing there. Such a tough season, you know, and I was glad to hear Brandon touch on it because, Joique, I think sometimes what we as fans forget is what you guys as human beings go through. Well, it's easy for a Sean Baligian sitting on his couch to go, Coach Peterson isn't getting it done. Coach Schwartz isn't getting it done. Yeah. But these are guys that you guys have a heck of a lot of respect for, and more often than not are going to say, hey, look, this wasn't an easy circumstance this year. You know, things were tough on Coach Peterson, Coach Schwartz, or whatever the case. Yeah, I found that out talking to you. You know, your amount of respect when I talked to you about Coach Schwartz and Coach Caldwell comes screaming through. I think fans sometimes forget that. We're only on the outside looking in. Yeah. You guys are on the inside going, hey, dude, I swear by this guy. This guy's one heck of a coach.
Yeah. I give you a story. Coach Schwartz wanted to cut me. He was in his rights to do so. So we were in, I think I might have told you this story before. We was in the players' locker room. This is my first full preseason with the Lions. And so we have couches set up similar like this in the players' lounge, and we take naps between meetings to kind of, a 20, 30-minute cat nap. And there's about 12 or 14 of us in the room. And so I fall asleep. We have special teams meetings coming up. I have my headphones in and just doze off. Like, one of my teammates will wake me up. I wake up to a phone call, and I answer the phone, and this Galen Duncan, the player developer guy, he said, Joique, where are you? I said, I'm in the players' lounge. He said, well, they're looking for you in the meeting room. And I wake up, I look up, all of my teammates are going out of the locker room, like out of the players' lounge. I'm like, nobody tapped me? Like, that's the type of time we on? That's the type of time we on in here? And so I get up, I run down to the meeting room, I go in, and I told him straight up. He said, Joique, where were you? I said, sorry, Coach, I fell asleep in the players' lounge. Fast forward, we get to the next special team meetings. He takes me off of every special teams. Everyone. Takes me off everyone. Steven Tillett grabbed me and said, listen, you better go apologize to that man. I said, okay, I'll do it. So I went up to his office like twice. He was never there. So I got in one morning. I'm usually one of the first guys there. And I was walking down the hallway, and the emergency lights are still on because everyone's not there yet. And I catch him walking out of the cafeteria. It's just me and him in the hallway. I'll pull him to the side. I said, listen, Coach, I apologize for being late and falling asleep. That's not my character. It'll never happen again. You have my word. He looked at me and said, I appreciate that. That's what he told me. Get to the very next meeting. He puts me back first string on all the special teams. And then I end up making the team that year. But I found out later that Jim Schwartz actually wanted to cut me that same day to prove a point. And he was in his right to do so because I was a no-name guy. And so if he would have cut me, it would never been the underdog story you see today. Gave me another shot.
How does that work? Does he go to Martin? I mean,
he went to Martin. Yeah. He went to Martin, And Martin said, no, we're not cutting him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Martin said, no, we're not cutting him.
Kind of good decision.
Yeah, it was good to say. Appreciate you, Martin. Wanted to cut me, but Martin said, no, we worked too hard to get him here. No, he's not going anywhere. And but, you know, they never told me that until years down the road.
Sure.
Right? And so fast forward the following year, we played Washington, D.C., third game of the season. My first start, Reggie was out. And luckily for me, it was my fourth season going into the third game that solidified my pension. So got the pension, started my first game against a team we had never beaten. We have never beaten in their home in 75 years, and then won that game, and then got offensive player of that game. It was just, everything worked out. You know, it's God's timing.
Cream rises to the top. Let's be honest,
God's
right?
timing. God, it was God's timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue with that. Pretty cool story.
Yeah.
So these guys, you know, obviously for Brandon, you know, you're dealing with a guy you won a Super Bowl with. You're always, as he said, you're always going to have a connection. And he loses Coach Peterson, and you know, Coach Schwartz said about a month ago he was going to step away from the game for a year, you know, to take care of some health issues. I guess he's had a lot of surgeries, as Brandon said, on his eyes. I don't know what the story is and everything. And
a lot of film watching.
I think people forget that stuff, that you guys are men and you have a relationship, a pretty damn good relationship with these guys. So that's pretty cool. As I mentioned, Rip Hamilton is going to be joining us in about 4 minutes from now. He obviously is going to be a legend here forever and a day. Also involved with, and I know, Joique, this is something that you've had an opportunity to dabble in, PointsBet. It is a gaming app because, as we know, legalized online sports betting is coming soon. A day that, Joique, in my lifetime, I never thought this would happen. I never thought this would happen.
Hey, listen. They've been making money on this in the black market for so long. Why not bring it to where we can regulate it and do it in the safest way possible?
For real. I'm with you.
Yeah.
No
They've been
brainer.
making money. They've been making money on it for years.
Yep.
In the black market.
Yep.
You know, and we can say the same thing to marijuana.
Yep.
Black, you know, there's a lot of money there to be made. You know, when there's money there to be made, the government is going to find some way to regulate it because they're not going to stop big business.
No.
They're not going to stop big business. It's just it's not in their it's not in their portfolio. No, it's not.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we get back on track? We'll take a quick break here, and when we come back, we are expecting to be joined by 2004 NBA World Champion. It was a good 5 years for Rip Hamilton. Won a college championship at a Final Four I was at in 1999 in Tampa. 5 years later, a championship that we'll never forget. Them pounding the Lakers the way they did, and Rip yelling out, "Yes, sir!" I'll get him to yell, "Yes, sir!" at some point in time during this as well.
And this was originated here.
Absolutely.
The ball don't lie.
Ball don't lie.
Ball don't lie.
Don't lie. We'll talk to Rip Hamilton next. This is Woodward Sports. He's Joique Bell. I'm Sean Baligian. Don't go anywhere. You know, when you talk about championships in our lifetimes, you know, for me, I grew up in an era where all our teams sucked, okay? And then the Tigers finally broke through in 1984, and it was insane. There's no other way to say that. And then, you know, the Pistons, it was that slow buildup. You know, if you remember, they couldn't get past the Atlanta Hawks. Then it was they couldn't get past the Boston Celtics. Then it was they couldn't get past the Lakers, and it was like check, check, check. And the championship comes in 89. And just for good measure, they turn around and win the championship the next year as well. Wings finally breaking through in 97. I mean, that incredible run. Darren McCarty obviously playing a big role of that. Doing it again in 98. And then, I mean, in essence, the all-star team that won in 2002. It was just disgusting how good that team was.
Why was it disgusting?
they had so many Hall of Famers on that team. It was insane. You know, from Dominic Hasek to Luke Robitaille to Brett Hull, Nick Lidstrom, Steve Yzerman, Brendan Shanahan. I mean, you're never going to see a team like that again.
Squad.
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, really, it was incredible. So then 2004 came around, and I think most people, I'm going to call me out, said, wow, this is a great run for the Pistons, but they're not ready yet. They're playing this Laker team that already has a championship pedigree. They went out and got Karl Malone. They went out and got the glove, Gary Payton. This is, you know, now a championship team also brought in a couple of mercenaries looking for a ring as well. And the Pistons smoked them. Smoked them. I mean, and it was really one of those series. I remember, like, vividly watching that series. And I think it was after Game 3 where I was like, the Pistons are going to win this series. And I was like, no, Sean, stop it. You're being a fan. You're being a fan. Stop being a fan. And then I was like, they're better than the Lakers. Yeah. They're better than the
better team ball.
Really, that's what it was. And they went out. I mean, I'm sure you remember it well. I mean, they went out and smoked them, man.
You know, that was because I think I was coming here. I think I had already committed to Wayne State, and so I was coming in that following year, 05. And so I was Detroit everything by that time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And so I remember watching the games, and you know, Big Shot. You know, Mr. Big Shot. Mm-hmm. I used to love the Wallace brothers. I used to love watching them play. And the reason I used to love watching them play because I feel like so I played basketball in high school, and I felt like the player that I kind of imitated the most on the Pistons, the way that I played, was Ben Wallace. Mm-hmm. Put me on your best player. I'm going to get you rebounds. I'm going to score you a couple points when I need to. I was a better free throw shooter, though. I was a better free throw shooter. But that's who my game, you know, kind of imitated when I was in high school. So I used to love watching them play. Rip was just – he was the guy you had to chase around. You had to chase him. He played great. Energy. You had to make sure you was ready to run whenever you guard him. Tayshaun Prince was just – he was like the X factor. If he played well, then we were almost for sure going to win, you know. Rasheed Wallace was always going to be Wallace. And Chauncey, you know, basketball IQ was just, you know, off the charts.
It was such a great cast of characters. And I said this then, and I'm going to go ahead and say it now. I'm not sure that there is a team, a championship team, that more embodied what Detroit is than that team. You know, I mean, seriously, because as you said, you look at everybody as an individual. Were there superstars? Nah, there weren't superstars, but there were guys like our next guest that went out there and every piece fit together. So that's why, to me, I look at 2004 and I say to myself, that's a Detroit champion.
Sean, tell me another team that went to the All-Star game and the whole starting five started.
Beautiful. Wasn't it beautiful? Rip Hamilton joining us. Joique Bell, former Detroit Lion. I'm Sean Baligian. Rip, really appreciate you joining us, man. How are you?
All good, man. All good. What's going on, fellas?
Slow motion, man. I appreciate you coming on today. I just had to do it one time. Somebody said I had to do it when you came on. So bear with me right here. Detroit basketball. Hey, I used to love hearing that when I went to the game. Do you miss that?
Oh, man. Yes, sir. You know I do, man. That was like that's a part of Detroit culture right there, right? Like,
oh yeah.
Like just hearing Mason yell that out, man, it gets the adrenaline rush back. You know, I'm thinking about putting my jersey back on after you said it like that.
Hey, you know what, Rip? Let's be honest. Yes, sir, is part of Detroit culture as well. I mean, I'm sure there's not a day that goes by that somebody doesn't yap that at you, right?
No, you're absolutely right. They still do. That's the first thing that's one of the first things they come up and say to me first. The first thing they say is, "Where's your mask? Why aren't you wearing it?"
Oh, okay.
And then two, can you say yes, sir, for me?
Yes, sir. All right. What about Ball Don't Lie?
You know what? That's she's thing, right? So
that's
you know, anytime you watch a game now and you see like a bad call and if someone's very close to the mic and they miss the first free throw, I mean, players all across the world. That's the first thing they say.
Across the
Ball
world.
don't lie.
Ball don't lie.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? Like that's
Detroit
Detroit.
right there.
Yeah, for people who don't know, now you know that's that come. And you hear that all around New York, Florida, Cali, Texas, anywhere you hear it. That came from Detroit, baby.
Rip Hamilton kindly
That's
joining
Detroit
us.
grown right
we
there.
were just,
That's all about Detroit.
You know, Rip, we were just talking about that. I never thought the day would come where we'd legalize gambling and you have, legalize online sports betting as well. I know you're a part of it now. I just saw the shirt, but for people out there that aren't aware, make them aware. Tell me about PointsBet.
Well, PointsBet is a sports book app, right? And the one thing that I love about it is probably one of the fastest app, especially when it comes to bets in the world. And that was the thing that I felt that my brand and them kind of relate to. One, because I was a basketball player that ran off 1,000 screens. I was like the Energizer Bunny. Nobody could stop me. I felt as though I was the best in shape type of player in the league. And with them they're very similar because they own their own technology. And just being on the broadcasting in the broadcasting world, you see that now a lot of these sponsorships that's come across our desk is with sports betting, right? And this is a thing that back in the day when we played, Jordan, it was like okay, it was like the kiss of death when you talk about gambling and you're talking about sports, especially in the locker room, right? But now this is more acceptable. This is a $1 billion industry, right? And the one thing that I've seen over the years is how the NBA has got behind it, and Adam Silver has got behind it. As you see now in Detroit, the Pistons got behind it, the Red Wings got behind it, the Tigers also. So this is something that's a part of our culture now. Like the world is changing right now, right? So it's either you jump on board or you be a dinosaur. So this is a situation right here where the world is evolving. It's the sports book gambling now that PointsBet has opened up a sports book bar, a PointsBet bar right at Little Caesar Arena, where now it enhances the experience of a fan. And you don't have to buy a ticket to the game. You can actually walk from the street and come in there, come right into the bar, enjoy the experience, the atmosphere with the TVs watching games. If you want to place bets, you could. But I think it's just enhancing the game in sports right now.
Yeah, I think is that Mike's Pizza Bar? Is that what you're talking about?
Down at Little Caesars?
Yeah, the Mike pizza, good pizza, good everything in there. Real quick, so as a player and now successful businessman, we always get these deals that come across the table, like you said. What prompted you to say, you know what, I want to take the gambling route? Like what was so intriguing about this that made you say, all right, this is it for me?
Well, when you look at it, right, growing up as a kid in coastal Pennsylvania, right, I'm just being honest, like as a competitor, even when you go out to the basketball court or football field or whatever, when you with your friends, the first thing you say is, oh, I bet you I can knock down 3 threes in a row. How much you want to bet? Right? Is it $5? Is it a nickel? Is it a penny? Whatever it is, right? Just being competitive, you just want to win, right? And once I seen that the NBA backed it, right? Because that was huge for me, right? Because, you like I said before, in the locker room, you always hear about, hey, guys, stay away from gambling, stay away from gambling sites. Don't, you've seen the Pete Rose thing that happened back in the day. It's like, this is just not good. But now that you see the world evolving, right, and you see that, okay, players understand, all right, you know what, we make a lot of money. That's something that we just don't want to get into. That's not a part of who we are as a brand, as a person. I think that now when you look on the other side, especially from a broadcasting standpoint, and you look at the game from the outside in, you see that the world is evolving as a whole, right? And the first time I actually seen how the whole betting world was I did an appearance for March Madness, and I went to Las Vegas, right? And
Right.
just the atmosphere with guys all across the world coming to these different casinos, going there just to be in that atmosphere, to get that experience of betting on games and being involved in it. You're betting 40 to 50 games a day just from the NCAA tournament. It just brought a different experience to the game. And now you see that what PointsBet did is now built like a hub actually inside of these arenas. Now you can come to a game with your kids, with your family, experience the game, go to the sports bet bar, hang out, place a bet on whatever it is. And also you can name your own bet. That's what separates them from everybody else. You can go in there and say, okay, Blake Griffin just hit 5 threes last night, right? I want to put a bet in that says that he makes more than 5 threes tonight. Now you can place that bet because remember, PointsBet owns its own technology, so you're able to do fun and creative things like that.
Okay.
I love it, because Rip, you nailed it. There is a rush, and by the way, it's where Sports and Social was in LCA. There is a rush that you can't explain. I mean, you guys probably experienced going to Vegas in the off season or something, but as a guy who grew up putting a little coin down on some game, you can't explain that rush, and to have it in the arena, Rip. Right. I mean, that's a double win now for fans.
Yeah, I do. I think it just enhances the experience. Some people are into gambling, some people are not, right? So for the ones that are, I mean, this is a premium platform for guys that just want to come in and enhance their experience and still enjoy the game and have fun doing it with other guys that wants to enjoy the game that way also.
So, unlike you and Sean, I will be new to the sports gambling. I mean, I've never even done the fantasy football. I haven't even done that yet. But on the app, but on the app,
I just got into fantasy football too.
That's great. That's great. So on you guys' app, will it have like a betting 101, kind of like in the stroll bar where I can kind of learn more about what you guys are in the process of how to bet? Is there something like that on the app as well?
Yes, it's tailored to the actual person, right? So to answer that question, you can make it as simple as possible. You can just say, hey, you know what, I want to bet against this team versus this team, right? You can say, all right, you know what, I want to make up my own bet, right? Like whatever you want your experience to be, the app can provide that for you. That's the best part. I love about the thing is it's kind of like, hey, you know what, I'm watching the game tonight and I feel as though that Derrick Rose is going to get 7 assists tonight, right? So you can say, oh, I want to bet that Derrick Rose gets 7 assists. Very simple, very easy. They're able to put that bet up, and then now you're in the game.
Okay. So I want to get this right though for the fans. So it's kind of like playing craps. Like you roll a 6, hit the 6. Or you can do a bunch of side bets. That's kind of like what it is. I bet that this team is going to win, but also I bet Derrick Rose is going to have 7 assists. I bet Blake Griffin puts up 30 points. I bet Josh Jackson has, 17 points. So that's like the side bets, outside of, who wins the game. Got it.
That's a good way to explain it. PointsBet is an app.
Yes, very similar to craps. Like you said, you can get in there and you got 40 different bets, right? People are saying, hey, why do I bet on black? Why do I bet on red? Why do I bet on just the straight 6 and the different odds?
What's the feel?
Right? So it's a very similar situation. You kind of create your own experience on there. However you want to bet, however you want to enjoy the game, it will be there at a very simple platform that's quick, that's easy, and that is faster than all the other competitors.
Rip Hamilton, he's involved with PointsBet. You can find it at Little Caesars. You can get it on the app. It's really the next level, guys. That's what's happening. Rip, I want to ask you one thing about 2004, and I'm sure everybody talks to you about you guys pounding the Lakers, but there's one game that sticks out to me, and when they finally blew up the Palace, this started on social media. Game 7 against New Jersey was the loudest I've ever heard an arena in my lifetime, and it was amazing. I tweeted that out. And everybody that was at that game said the same thing. Does that stick out to you? Do you feel that? Is that a big memory for you, that particular Game 7 against New Jersey?
Well, to be 100% honest with you, the memory that that really stands on my mind was the year before when they swept us and we were actually in Jersey and everybody had their brooms out. And being in the locker room at that moment, we said to ourselves, "Oh, this will never happen again. We'll get them back," And we really worked our tails out, especially in the offseason to come into the next season. So yes, the arena was loud and screaming, and the Palace of Auburn Hills was jumping. But at that moment, we were really thinking about the year prior to that when the fans brought in brooms when we actually got swept.
Great stuff.
That's crazy.
To this day, I can't believe it's almost 17 years. It's unbelievable. Talk to me what you see out of this Piston team, because, Rip, my humble opinion, I think Troy Weaver has a direction. It might take a little while, much like it did for your team, but it seems to me like there's a direction with this team now. What are you seeing out of this current Piston squad?
Well, I definitely like Troy Weaver at the helm, man. I think that we need a leader, right? And I think that the one thing when you're building a roster and you're building a team, you have to create a identity. Who are you? What are you about? How can I get the fans engaged? And when you look at the prior teams, especially the bad boys, when you looked at Joe Dumars and Isaiah Thomas and all the great players, they had an identity: hard work, toughness, grit. They was going to grind out wins, right? You wasn't going to out tough that team. So when we came in 2004, we had a very similar identity, and our identity was represented by the city of Detroit, right? Hard working, grind, going to work every day. And when people came in, they understood what the team was about. So I think Troy is coming in and doing something very similar, trying to get back to the old bad boy days, trying to get back to the old 14, building that culture inside the locker room where the fans can be engaged, where the fans can come out and say, all right, you know what? This team represents the city. And as you see, he went out and got a lot of two-way guys that are long, that are lanky, that are hard-nosed, grit guys that can defend multiple positions, guys that can have that sense of toughness. But again, it's going to take time because you're going to add pieces during the journey. I know people say, oh, you know what, I want to win now. Yes, we all do want the team to win now. I want the team to win now just so I can have bragging rights when I'm talking to a bunch of my other friends. But I just think that just be patient. It's going to take time, but I think that he's doing a good job of going out getting guys that fit that Detroit type of mold.
That's definitely. And I want to say this before we let you go, but my daughter, great-grandmother, who's now passed away, you were her favorite player.
Sorry to hear that, man.
No, man. Every game she would have her Detroit Piston blanket, and she'll turn the game on. She'll have the blanket over her legs, and she'll watch every Pistons game. And you was her favorite player.
No, beautiful.
Yeah. And I just had to tell you that before it slipped my mind.
Before we let you go, Rip, let everybody know how they can get involved in PointsBet. I mean, this is an exciting time. People like me, I never thought this was going to happen. It's here. It's real. Let people know how they can get involved with PointsBet.
Easy. I mean, especially living in the Michigan area right now, and even all across the world, you can actually download the app, right? But you got to be in the state of Michigan to actually bet. But right now, you can just go to your Apple store, download the app. Android, you can download it to your Samsung phone. Very simple, very easy. You can go on there and just, right now you can't actually bet on there right now, just as they're building up the software and everything else like that. But you can still go on there and win fun prizes. You can win up to $25,000 as I speak. So just go to the Apple store, download the app, and be ready to get started.
You're a Pennsylvania kid. You went to UConn, but I think you know this. You're always going to be one of us, Rip. We're very glad to have you. One of the best memories ever as sports fans. That was a Detroit team.
Yeah.
He was a big part of it, Rip Hamilton.
For sure.
Hey, bud, continued success, man. Really appreciate you.
Thanks for coming on, Rip.
I still got Detroit in my blood, man. That never leave.
Never leave.
Best of luck to you and PointsBet as well.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys.
Hey, Rip Hamilton, everybody.
There he is.
The man, the myth, the legend himself.
NBA champion. I love yes, sir. It just, I don't know why. It just, it's funny, Joique, you touched on something, and I wanted you to talk. my deceased grandmother absolutely fell in love with the 2004 Pistons. I mean, it was insane. Like it was crazy, and she wasn't doing well at the time and everything. But it was the same thing. She would call me up like on game day, and she would be like, "What do you think tonight? You've met these guys. Are they nice boys and things like that?" There was just something about that team. I mean, isn't it funny to hear him say that? You and I were talking about that before we even went to Rip. And I mean no disrespect to any championship team. I don't think there was ever a team that kind of personified Detroit and was Detroit like the 04 Pistons. In my mind, nothing comes close. No. Nothing comes close.
No. And I wanted to ask Rip before he got off to what made that team so unique. A team where there's technically no superstars, but a group of great players coming together and being able to win an NBA championship for the city of Detroit. I wanted to know, he played on 3 different teams from Washington to Detroit to Chicago. I wanted to know what made Detroit so different from the other teams.
You know what? It was, I think he touched on it. There was Coach Carlisle and everything that happened in 03 with the way that season ended, and it left such a bad taste in everybody's mouth. And then you make the change, and you go to Larry Brown, and, you know, to me, Joique, this is just one man's opinion, because we could have sat here and talked to Rip for days. When they brought in Rasheed Wallace, that was the final piece.
Yeah.
And whether people want to believe it or not, a lot of people thought bringing in Rasheed Wallace was going to upset the apple cart. That's a lot of people thought that was going to upset the apple cart. He's trouble. He's had issues here. He's had issues there. And I remember being on the radio. I told a guy, you know what, man? I'm sorry. I think this locker room's got more cred than that. You know, and I use the term, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Mm-hmm. You know? I mean, that's like a guy coming into your locker room. You know what? You're going to be one of the group. You're not going to be over here as an island. Yeah. And it fit hand in glove, man.
It did. You know what? But then again, Rasheed mentality embodied the Detroit.
Yep.
It embodied us. And so I think when he came in, it was like he was home. He could be himself here, so to speak. And so him coming to Detroit in 04, I think that was the final piece we needed.
Yep. It was such a – I was sitting – I have to tell you this story. The late Jamie Samuelson, we were working at the same radio station together, and we happened to say, hey, let's go to the game tonight. You know, it's Game 7 against New Jersey. Let's see what happens. And Jamie and I, you know, if you don't know how it worked at the Palace, Joique, you know – they have this room where you can go get like the media dinner and all that, and then you walk right by the locker rooms. And it was so funny because I'll never forget that. It was such a difference. You had New Jersey that looked like they were having a good time. They were ready to go. And if looks could kill, every one of those guys in the Pistons locker room were ready to fire lasers out of their eyes. They were and just destroy everything around them. So Jamie and I walked out into like where the media sits, and it was so loud. Like we were like looking at each other going, I can't hear you. Like that. I mean, I'll never forget that noise as long as I live, because it was just seconds before game time. And so we had to sneak out before the players. So we're making our way, and it was so loud. And we're just going, trying to talk to each other. And then finally I just went, nothing. I mean, I'll never forget that noise that night. It was so magical, man. It really was.
You know what's crazy? That the Little Caesars Arena is beautiful.
Oh,
beautiful arena.
Love it.
But I do miss some of the times I had at the Palace. Some of those moments we can probably see again, but the noise and the history there at the Palace, those were some great memories.
Loved it. I mean, I you know, again, I think what happens with a lot of people, and this is why I'll go back to our conversation with Brandon Graham. When the Lions win, I guarantee you, even if it's my buddies and I in our wheelchairs with our walkers and our canes, we're going to go out to where the Pontiac Silverdome was. That's where the day is going to start. Because for us, that's where we went as young people, and more often than not, watch the Lions, get kicked in the face. But that was our dump. That was our team. So that's where my day is going to start. I'm going to start at the Dome, and I'm going to make my way, down Woodward all the way to Ford Field, and it's going to be this the whole way. And I kind of feel that way about the Palace. The Silverdome was cool. The Silverdome was cool for basketball, but the memories really started with, the team that beat the Lakers and then beat the Trailblazers the next year. That's where the big memories really started, and that was out at the Palace. I'll tell anybody, listen, the place was beautiful. Like we talked about it. Tiger Stadium was a dump. It had to go. As much as I love it, it had to go. Joe Louis Arena was a dump. As much as we loved it, it was time to go.
It was time to go.
The Palace was beautiful.
It was beautiful.
It was a beautiful
It was still
place,
beautiful,
man.
And it looked younger than what it really was. I didn't know it was built in the 90s.
Yeah, 88, 89 was the first year. 88, 89. Opened November 88. Yeah.
You know what? And I'm still off. I thought it was built in 2000.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I thought it was built. It was so nice. They might have did some upkeep to it, some upgrades, but I couldn't tell it was that old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it was time to go, but it was still beautiful.
It's interesting, and, that's something maybe we'll talk about, somewhere down the line, but I don't care what anybody says. In this town, football is king. That's the way it is. Whether you're a big hockey fan, whether you're a big baseball fan, whether you're a big basketball fan, I would hope that we all agree football is king around here, whether it be the Lions, whether it be Michigan, whether it be Michigan State, whether it be, the local high school team and everything. Football is king. But when you want to talk about popular champions, pretty hard to argue against the 04 Pistons. There was something about that team that just captured this area's imagination.
That's true. And there's not too many teams or cities that if you go and they have a football team and basketball team that is not a football town. You have a few. You might have like L.A. Yeah. You might have New York. That's all I can really think
L.A.,
of.
they're just I think this is one man's opinion. I think there's too much going on in L.A. Does that make sense? Like,
I know what you're saying.
There aren't a lot of diehard sports fans like us out there because it was, I've had a chance to go out there for pretty much everything. And, it's weird. That's not to say that they don't exist, but they just don't happen to be in the droves because maybe there's just too much going on in L.A. I don't know.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah. It's a great vibe here, man. I don't care what anybody says. It's, and one of the things getting on the betting thing as well is, we are one of the very few cities in the nation. They're going to have kiosks at every arena.
Oh, everyone?
Yeah, everyone.
You know what's funny? That we are the only city in the entire country with all 4 professional teams all in downtown.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Only one.
Love it.
Can't beat it.
Love it. Absolutely.
With the 3 casinos, you can't. And just the funny now, so Rip has the point bet, and I was invited to the money line betting operation at MGM Grand in Vegas. They flew me out, I think, in December of 19, and I did something similar where I went there just for parents, and they were doing probably something similar to sign an autograph and going to the bar and watching the game and kind of being the face of it for that particular weekend. It was a good time too. It was a good time. So it was then. I see a lot of things is changing, and I guess I need to start learning more about it just to be educated on it.
We'll do it. My buddy Mike, who is part of the Smoke Show, he'll give you the 101 course. Yeah. Steve said not too many championships to choose from beside the Wings. For me, it was 84 Tigers, 89 Pistons, 90 Pistons, 97 Wings, 98 Wings, 02 Wings, 04 Pistons, and then the 08 Wings. So, depending on how old you are, and I always used to say that to my son when he was coming up, and his biggest love was the Tigers. He still to this day, he loves the Tigers more than anything. But I said, do you know how blessed you are to see all these championships? Because everybody sucked when I was a kid. Everybody sucked.
Well, the Tigers just won one too, in the mid-2000s?
They went to the World Series a couple times, but they haven't won since '84.
Never won?
Yeah, haven't won it all since '84. I thought for sure it was going to happen in '06.
Yeah, that's when they had
so much fun.
Curtis Grandis?
Yeah,
was on the team.
Maglio, the Maglio home run, and it's weird. Sorry to bounce around here. My ADD's running wild. You know what I miss more than anything, I think, during the lockout?
What do you miss, Sean?
Going down to Comerica Park. I missed it. Like, that was always my son and my thing. You know what I mean? That was always our thing because, you know, I didn't grow up a big baseball fan. I liked it, but it wasn't, you know, I mean, it was hockey and football all day. And from him playing growing up and just being such a huge baseball fan, I have this appreciation for baseball now that I never thought. I mean, I love it. It's a great sport. And, you know, for years we had season tickets. And, you know, then when he moved away to go to school in Chicago, I go see a couple games at Wrigley Field with him, and we find a way. But we were looking at the Tigers schedule just last night, and he's coming home Easter weekend. I'm going, please let fans in there by April 2nd or whatever it is.
No,
we want to go to a game.
Did you see that I believe the commissioner for baseball said that the teams should go into training camp this year expecting to play all their games this year.
Let's go.
Yeah, and so we'll see what happens with the fans.
Let's go.
Hopefully they have enough vaccines put out to where they can lighten up on the lockdown, and we can start getting back out into society, which we all want.
We need it.
We need it.
We
got to get out there back into the public. We have to start going to more games, start going to more events, being safe. I just want to get back to the normal. You know, I'm tired of being home.
You know what, Joique? I don't care what anybody says. We as humans, we're not meant to be cooped up like we've been cooped up. And I'm not getting political with anybody. Don't read into that or anything like that. I would hope as a human being, you would agree we're not meant to be cooped up like this. And now, again, not to get political, that doesn't mean don't wear your mask. That doesn't mean don't social distance. That doesn't mean keep away from, you know, those who might be at high risk. You know, I told you about the situation with my father. My father's like, what's it going to do, kill me? But that doesn't mean that other people can't, you know. My mom, if I'm anywhere near my mom, my mask is on. Period, end of story. She doesn't feel comfortable, so I'm going to respect her. I'm going to respect anybody like that. But I would hope that everybody could agree out there that with what you're saying, what I'm saying, it's we need to go live. We need to live. This has been crazy for 11 months now, man. Enough
is enough.
Kenny asked, we're coming a couple minutes on a break, so I don't want to start talking about the national championship game, you know, and then have to take a break. But Kenny asked a question, and I want to ask you. I'm glad this came up. Kenny said, what do you guys think of this whole doctoring the baseball thing with Verlander? Do you know what's crazy about this? And I'm going to let the pro talk about it, okay? But Joique, you yell at me if you think I'm wrong. This crap of finding a quote-unquote competitive advantage has been going on forever. It's been going on forever. It's going to continue to go on. People are going to take every possible shortcut they can to get that quote-unquote competitive advantage, whether it be doctoring a ball, whether it be cutting out the gloves or the hand of your gloves in hockey. I mean, whatever the case may be, it seems to me, one man's opinion, it seems to me that it's more frowned upon in today's generation than it has been in the past. Would you agree with that?
It definitely is. I think it, you know, and they come up with things I've never heard of. Like when Tom Brady got sued for deflating the balls and said that he was messing with the integrity of the game. I had never heard that before until that incident. Now, deflating the ball, and you're the one, you know, throwing it. I don't see how that factors out the winning or losing of a game for the opposition. You know, he's playing with that ball. You guys have to play. You guys are defending the same ball. I don't know. I don't get it. I didn't get that whole thing. Like, you lost, but hey, I guess when you lose, everything is magnified.
There is a guy, I'm showing my age, but maybe some of the older guys out there, maybe you've heard of him, maybe you haven't. There's a guy by the name of Gaylord Perry, who is a Hall of Fame pitcher, who it was common knowledge that he threw the spitter his whole career. And it was wink, wink, nod, nod, oh, Gaylord Perry's throwing. everybody knew. I mean, his pitch was called the spitter, which again, by their rules is illegal, but everybody went hee, ha, ha. And it's almost like I've seen this out of the NFL, okay? When the thing with New Orleans happened in the bounties, remember the bounties? Mm-hmm. And everybody got hammered, okay? Well, you can go look this up online. Some of us lived it. The NFL put out videos talking about the Buddy Ryan Bounty Bowl when they put bounties on the Dallas Cowboys in the 1989 Thanksgiving Day game. It was ha-ha, giggle, giggle. Oh, isn't that funny? Look at the Eagles chasing around the little kicker and stuff like that. But because society looks at it differently today or 7 years ago with the Saints than they did back in the late 80s, now all of a sudden it's a bad thing. And that's just my kind of opinion on this. Look, this cheating stuff, competitive advantage stuff, it's been going on for years. It's going to keep going on. It is. I mean, there's no other way to say it. And I guess I'm not naive enough to think that all sports are pure and people aren't cheating. Just about everybody's trying to do it. I mean, that's the way it is.
I mean, the minute they're going to start interrogate a game where another team has longer clicks than the other team,
Yep. Kenny brought up a great point. He said, so it really is the old expression, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. Yep. That's, I mean, yes.
I wouldn't call it cheating. I'm going to call it
competitive advantage.
Yeah, I'll call it competitive advantage. Wordplay.
Steve said, I'm glad you brought up Gaylord Perry. I have those memories from a kid. I was a weasel. I used to be a big card collector, right? I used to go to like all these baseball card, hockey card conventions and everything. And Gaylord Perry was the guest speaker, and what they do. I'm sure you know this. Some of these autograph signings, right? Mm-hmm. So they'll have an autograph signing. Come see Joique Bell today from 1 to 2. Autographs are $15, whatever the case may be. So the guy who owns the house is going to take some of that money. The rest of the money is going to go to you. And it was funny. I was at one of these card conventions, and being the little weasel that I was, and I didn't have $10 to get an autograph and everything, I waited, and I saw Gaylord Perry walk to the bathroom, right?
Right.
So immediately I went into the bathroom and stood in the urinal next to him, and I'm doing my business. He's doing my business. And I got on my nicest little kid face, and I said, Mr. Perry, can I please have your autograph? And he goes, well, I'm kind of busy right now, but sure. Washed his hands, signed me his autograph in the bathroom. I walked out like this.
You're that guy.
What a weasel.
You're that guy.
Come on, I'm 12. I don't have $10 to get the guy's autograph, so I was the weasel. So
you know what though?
By any means necessary,
you get a pass because you're 12. You get a pass. But you know what? I never liked the guy that so I had two guys. They approached me kind of within like 30 seconds of one another. One guy said, listen, he came up to the table. He saw I was with my family. We were having dinner. And he said, listen, I know you with your family, but, when you guys are done, can you mind if we can get a picture when you're done? He said, I'll have no problem waiting. I said, no problem. Yeah, no problem. And our food wasn't even there yet. And so food comes. We're sitting down, we're eating now, and I have like a mouthful of like mashed potatoes, mac and cheese, and the guy comes up to the table and said, hi, you mind if I, and mind you, I'm like in the middle. I'm not even sitting on the edge. So he said, you mind if we get a picture real quick? I know you're eating right now, but I want to catch you before we left. I was just like, yeah, okay. But because you can't say no because he's a supporter. These are supporters, so you can't say no. But it's like a big inconvenience, and it's just as if we don't have that privacy. Now, if it was another person, and they would have said, no, I'm with my family eating, and then he's a jerk, right? He's a jerk now. But in that situation, who's really a jerk? Who's being a jerk?
It's a good point. No, you're absolutely right.
In that situation,
You know what? There's one athlete who yelled at me in my entire lifetime. As a little kid, I was an autograph hawk. I openly admit it. I wasn't to sell it. It was like I had, things at home. I was just that kind of kid. There's one athlete who yelled at me. He wasn't a Detroit guy, but I have no problem telling you who it was. Jim Gantner of the Milwaukee Brewers. I wanted to get Gorman Thomas autograph. And my guess is I was a kid. I must have been 11 years old. My guess is it was beyond that time where they can do it, you know, and everything. Yeah. So I just walked up and I said, Mr. Thomas, and I kid you not, Jim Gantner turned around and looked at me. He goes, "Get out of here, kid. You're bugging him." Like, come on, dude. I'm an 11-year-old. Like, what the hell's wrong? Even at 11, I realized, wow, are you an asshole? Like, even at 11, I realized that. And, you know, some 11-year-old kid might do that. But, like, for me, I was more the, do you feel like a man? You just barked at an 11-year-old. Wow, you're really tough. By the way, you suck, too. So I thought I'd throw that out there, too.
You did.
Somebody get that message out to Jim Gantner. You're bad. You were a bad player.
You know what, though? You know,
Gantner, if you're watching, son of a gun.
And then you have, hold up, and then you have that image embedded in your head.
You got it.
For the rest of your life.
You got it.
All right.
Might be the nicest guy on earth.
Yeah.
Might be the nicest guy on earth.
But that's the only thing you have. You only have one time to make a first impression.
Yep.
And that's your first impression of him.
You got it. That's why you're the smart man to finish your mouth full of mashed potatoes and stand up and take a picture with that guy, because that guy might call you a jerk like I did.
Or you can hit him with the vet move. Hey, yeah, I'll take a picture with you, but you mind waiting for me and my family to get done eating, then I'll get one with you. And then now you put it back on them, and now they say, oh, never mind, it's fine, I got to get out of here. Or, no problem, I have no,
That's a great move. Yeah.
A great move. It's a great
move.
I
sit Grammy Whammy on him.
Yeah. And
that Grammy Whammy's the one that could say, can't you tell we're trying to eat here? I mean, how rude are you? Right?
Grammy Whammy, you mind if I take this picture? No? Sorry, boss. It's grandma. It's Grammy Whammy. She's the boss.
We're going to talk about the national championship game when we come back. Don't go anywhere. He's Joique Bell. I'm Sean Baligian. You're watching Woodward Sports. I always get incredibly sad after the national championship game, and I did it last night. I tweeted out, Joique, 228 days until we get to see more college football. Although we do get to see just a few leagues that actually move to the spring and playing and everything. The end of the college season is very sad for me, but I also want to say this college season, not as sad, because it goes back to what you were talking about. To me, I have to believe in my heart of hearts, being the optimistic person that I am, that we're going to be able to see more of this in person.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
I love the way he was finishing his runs yesterday. He had a great game. Did he finish yesterday with 3 touches?
I'll look up the exact numbers.
Yeah. I know 2 for sure. Could have been 3, but that 4th and 1 run on the goal line was them saying, F you, Ohio State. If you want this, you're going to have to get it.
We have a hit coming up, too, that I want you to look at, because I'm always intrigued to hear what athletes think about some of these hits and, plays that are being flagged.
This
here
one
you
right
go.
here.
Here you go.
There's helmet to helmet. There's helmet to helmet.
You got to call that, right?
You got to call it.
See, I feel the same way.
You got to call it. Like, he didn't even have to do that. He literally could have went in and made a hard hit without putting his head in first. Hurt his team, but they was able to bounce back from it. They had to put in the younger guys because they're already young in that secondary. Luckily, neither player was hurt. They was able to bounce back from it.
That's a player safety thing, man. I'm sorry, you got to call that 10 times out of 10.
You have to call it, especially with the rules now. It's the rules.
Yeah,
it's the rules. And in the championship game, you don't want to risk being ejected because of a hit like that, where you could have made that same type of impact going in with your head up and keeping your head out of it.
Najee had 2 rushing, 1 receiving. Like we talked about yesterday, I think both you and I felt the same way. Alabama just had too much offense.
They
That's
did.
the way it's been all year. They churned up the machine this year, and the machine ate everybody up.
You know what it was too? Justin Fields didn't look like himself. He looked like he was battling an injury, and you could see it in his eyes. I literally saw it in his face. It's a look that players have where they're not giving up, but they're kind of going through the motion. I'm not saying that's what he was doing, but outside looking in, that's what it looked like to me.
I agree with you.
That's what it looks like. Let's get this game over with. I'm hurt. I just want to get out this game healthy and get ready for this NFL draft. That's what it looked like.
You know what? He manned up after the game. I'm sure you saw it and said, I was good enough to play. I don't want to hear any of that and everything. Joique, you can't hide that, especially in a game of that magnitude where there are camera angles everywhere. How many times did you see him do this and wince?
Yeah.
You can't hide that.
You can't hide it.
He wasn't well.
Yeah, he wasn't. And you can tell by the way he was running. It was to a point when in my head, I'm saying, why do you guys keep running the read? They're not going to go for the quarterback. He can't run. He knows if he takes one bad hit, he's out. So don't even risk it. He was better off just passing and just running out of the I formation. It was no reason to run the read anymore because he had probably one good run out of the read yesterday, but that's all I saw.
Yeah.
That's.
You know what's interesting, and I want to get your take on Devontae Smith in a second, but somebody just brought this up. Scott asked a great question, and this is for you, Joique. I don't know if you saw this. I once heard a player say that it's the hits you don't hear on TV that hurt the most, that the ones that make most noise don't hurt as much. Have you found that to be true?
Yes and no. So some of them hurt, some don't. Some hurt, some don't.
There's no correlation then between, that noise where everybody goes, ooh.
Yeah, I know what he's saying, and it has some correlation, but most of the time those loud hits, they really don't hurt. But if you hit those loud hits and you're taking it to the head, then more than likely, it hurts. You feel it. And you have different phases of what we call concussions. Concussions, when I was growing up, was you were unconscious on the ground, and when you woke up, you were on the sideline or you didn't know what happened, right? But when you get those type of hits, like what the tight end just took from the safety from Alabama, you have stars, right? You have these stars. Running back, he gets hit here, boom. He hits the ground. He lays there for a second. He has stars in front of his eyes right now. And what we call, those are minor concussions as well. And what we call it, we say he got his bell rung when you have those stars in front of your eyes. But technically, those are concussions as well.
Absolutely.
And those add up over time, right? Those add up over times. And so that hit right there might not have affected him that much, but you keep taking hits like that over time, it's going to start to affect your play, your vision will become a little blurry. Like things like that happen. I've had players who I played with who I remember they'll run the ball and they'll come back to the sideline and they just had a good run. And I say, that was a good run. He said, hey, I couldn't see anything. What you mean? You just got 6 yards, at the 10. That's a good run. He said, all I saw was colors. I couldn't see really too much. And you have players like that who they play the games, you don't know what's going on, and then those are the ones that sometimes are the most affected when they're done playing. And those are the guys that you have to keep an eye on. I have players that, I feel like I'm not responsible for my teammates, but sometimes I feel like I'm my brother's keeper. So that's why I always keep in touch with guys over time, because I feel like if we don't look out for each other, then who will? There's so many people that's trying to, who wants to bring you in on a bad business deal. It's people that want to bring you in and just mooch off of you. It's a lot of people out there like that. So I feel like if we don't look out for each other and give us information, then who will? And so that's why I love bringing guys on the show. That's why I love having those Zoom calls with the guys. And it can be very inspirational for me as well to be able to learn to see what they're going through and see how, we have these Zoom calls with players from all over, and you have guys who get on the Zoom call who they might have had like suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
And then they get on the phone call and they were able to talk about it, and then all of a sudden now, wow, now they're doing better, and now they're not having these same thoughts or they're getting help, right? And so it's very important that we keep our heads out of those type of tackles, because over time it'll build up.
You know, it's interesting. You totally went Nino. I heard New Jack City there for a second.
Yeah.
Am I my brother's keeper? But it's real.
Yeah.
I mean, it's real.
I saw you started smiling when I said it.
Yeah, that's right. It was like I thought about New Jack and love that movie. Steve said, different game now. Hit to the head. You have to get checked. Player safety is huge now, deservedly so. Could not agree with you more, Steve. You know what? Joique, you grew up in an era, I grew up on an era when you got your quote-unquote bell rung. You know what? You rub some dirt on it. Maybe you take a little bit of a smelling salt, and you get your candy butt back out there and everything.
Don't rub it.
We're smart. We're smart.
That's baseball. Don't rub it.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, so I brought that over to the football field. Don't rub it. You know, if somebody get a hard hit on the sideline, or somebody on our sideline would get a good hit on somebody on the other team, and you look down and don't rub it. Don't rub it. So good times.
No, you know what? And obviously we'll get the thoughts. And you know, can anybody really challenge the hierarchy in college football? I had so many people say that to me on social media yesterday, that college football isn't the same for them. And you know what? The way that I look at it is, you know what? I still like going to watch Michigan State play Maryland. I still like going on a Thursday night. It's my job, but I'd be there anyway, to watch Wayne State open the season on a beautiful Thursday night in Midtown Detroit against Slippery Rock. You know, I can't wait. It's like Thursday, September 2nd. I kid you not. I should have taken a picture of my calendar at home. Like Joique, I have a big circle around that on my calendar at home. We have this family calendar, Thursday, September 2nd, because it's been so long since I've been able to call a football game down there. And you know what? That's when they're going to get going. I can't wait for it. You know, I mean, that's the thing, and those are the feelings that I always feel. But this year was a little different, because being the optimistic person, I'm like, okay, you know what? The good Lord willing, let's get this thing finally under control. Let's get all those vaccinations out there, so by the time it rolls around in September, we're ready to go. As many people as can come in can come in. We're not going to keep it at 2,000. As many people as we can fit in are going to fit in, whatever the case may be. So that's, for sure. I'm the optimistic guy like that.
You are.
It's got to happen.
You're always positive.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I try.
Aside from you and I, we're the only positive things in this room right now. So Devontae broke the NCAA record last night. Just keeps amazing us, right?
In a half.
Yeah.
12 receptions, 215 yards in a half.
You know what? And you can't stop him.
Nope. Now here's the thing that amazes me about him, Joique, and this has become a talking point on this show because of you, okay? Mm-hmm. But do you know how many people were talking about how Devontae Smith flies and he's a 4.3 guy, et cetera, et cetera? You know he isn't, right?
Yeah.
He's not.
All right.
That's the crazy thing. He looks fast. He looks like he's faster than ever. Exactly.
It's quick.
Thank you.
And so when the NFL, sometimes it's better to be quick than fast, right? I play with a lot of quick players, right? Or seen a lot of quick players. I say who was the quickest player I probably played with? C.J. Spiller was a quick player, but he was also fast, right? And you have like I wasn't able to play with Ja, but Ja was that fast guy. Mm-hmm. Like that Reggie Bush, that fast guy, but he was also quick. I remember we would have these drills where they'll set the cones up, and a running back will go against the running back, and you got to try to get by the running back without him getting two hands on you. I remember Reggie was running full speed on a dime. He started on this cone, went fast, and I went to go touching, and I looked up. He was 5 yards that way and already passing the next cone. And that's when I realized this guy he's different.
Yeah.
And he was different. It's only a few guys I play with like that. You had Hawk, my guy Hawk, who played receiver for the Bengals for a while. Some of the fastest feet I've ever seen. Quick. Guys like that. And for me, I felt like I was more quick than fast. I was one of those guys. In the hole, I can make you miss in the hole, but that straight ahead speed, nah.
Well, here's the thing. If you don't believe me, because I had this conversation with a buddy of mine last night, and we're gonna have my friend Scott Bischoff back on the Scout. He's gonna come in, and we're actually gonna do an NFL draft show. He and I once a week here on Woodward Sports. But Joique, if you don't believe me, Google is your friend. Seriously, tweet Devontae Smith 40 time. His best time, Joique. His best time is 4.49. And you know what they say about best time? Okay, there's best time, and then there's your average time. And all the guys think he's a mid 4.5 guy. Now, again, he's flying, okay? But it's not that 4.27 that Ruggs brings to the table. It's not that, 4.26, 4.27 that Waddle brings to the table. And everywhere last night I saw on Twitter, everybody's going, oh my gosh, Ohio State's so fast, but they can't handle a 4.3 guy. And it's like, he's not a 4.3 guy. That's what makes him such an incredible wide receiver.
I think his average might be a 4.4. You got to think he has
game speed wise.
Game speed wise, but I think he'll be able to run that with his training because he looks like a track runner. I mean, he has great form. He has great knee drive. There's no wasted motion. This seems. I mean, he look like he gets to his top end speed quick. I think once he goes into training this off season, going into the NFL draft, and depending on his trainer, he should be able to get him down to somewhere in the mid 4.4s just off his training alone, because you really run a fast 40 within your first 20 yards, and then everything else is just a stride out. So it's how fast can you get to your top speed,
sure,
and then how long can you hold it, right? And then also you have players who can get to the top speed and still not only maintain it, but also pick up. Why are you laughing? What somebody saying?
No, because just people are going, Art, aren't you going to fire back? And Art's being the bigger person today.
Art's always taking it. So,
I'm just busy. I'm listening to this great show. Great job, Sean. You're doing great, Baligian.
I'm more impressed by a receiver who can get to the top speed faster, and I'm with the guy who. All right, so Scott has he kind of tapped on what I was talking about. So Scott says I'm more impressed by a receiver who can get to his top speed faster than I am with a guy who has a great top speed but takes longer to get there. The faster you are to top speed, the less chance they have of catching you. And that's true, because at what point in time does a player have, say, 40 yards of just straight shot before a defender is right next to him?
Yeah.
Like, it's that 10 to 20. It's that 10 to 20. How fast can you get to your top speed, and then how long can you hold it? That's what it is.
I heard a scout, make the comparison to Marvin Harrison. And, okay, yeah, if you're talking about a guy that has the potential to be the next Marvin Harrison, sounds good to me. One of the best that ever played the game as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. And, again, not a guy that flew by you, not a Randy Moss who he took 2 strides and you're going, wait a second, what just happened? You were 5 yards behind me, now you're 5 yards ahead of me. But kid's a stud. Again, 12 receptions, 215 yards, 3 touchdowns at the half last night. Mm-hmm. And
they came out.
Yeah, it's just insane how. And, it's funny. I don't know if you had the same depressing thought that I did last night. Okay, here's Ohio State, and here's the rest of the Big Ten. I mean, that's factual. Right. Maybe Indiana will play them close. Indiana gave them a good game.
It did.
After getting down, but Indiana came fighting back. Maybe Northwestern will be pesky, but, Ohio State wins by 12 points. Here's Ohio State. Here's the rest of the Big Ten. And then you watch that last night, and you see Ohio State here and Alabama there. I mean, It is. That's why I say to people, if you're a Michigan State fan, why are you even thinking about national championship? Think about knocking off Ohio State and winning the Big Ten and see what happens after then. But you're so far off. There's such a big gap between
just a big
teams
gap
right now. It's not real.
Don't think about winning it all.
No.
Just go into the season and be okay. No player goes into a season or a coach goes into the season thinking that way.
Players don't, but we as fans should.
Why?
Because they are just on a different level.
It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter, Sean.
You really don't think it
And
does?
no, it doesn't matter. Wayne State had never been to the playoffs, had a winning season in 30 years. 30 years.
We knew they were pretty good, though. We knew they were pretty good.
National championship pretty good?
No. You're right about that.
National champ? Yep.
No, you're 1,000% right there.
Never thought it.
Yep,
Never
you're
thought it.
1,000% right.
Except for the players and the fans. It was us versus everybody, like it always is. All right, no one goes into a season and say, you know what? Let's beat Ohio State. I'm good with that.
Oh, I think that's what we need to do around here.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I
Just
mean,
win the Big Ten, then see what happens.
Would you rather win every game and lose to Ohio State or beat Ohio State and win every game?
I hate that logic.
I'm asking.
No, I hear that from Michigan State fans all as long as we beat Michigan. No, screw that. They're bigger fish to fry, man.
If it's
no
bigger
way.
fish, then
If
there's bigger fish to fry, then why worry about Ohio State? Just play our game, and if we'll just let it fall where it may.
To me, because it all begins with winning your own conference. You have to win your own conference first. Anything you want after that, you have. And
it's
that's
not
what
even
happened.
about that, though. It's not even about that. It's about winning It's about winning the game you have next. It's not even thinking that far. That's your long-term goal. So you have your long-term goal.
Mm-hmm.
You have your mid-term goal, and then you have your short-term goal. What's your short-term goal?
Well,
I want to win. I want to win this week.
You know what? Here, I'll give you an example. Okay, Michigan State. The 2 out of the 3 years they had really good teams were Big Ten champions. Everything starts with beating Ohio State. 1 year they beat them down in Indy in the Big Ten championship. Then in 2015, if you remember, they beat them in Columbus. I mean, it was insane. And oh, by the way, with a backup quarterback. But then what happens is you're getting yourself excited.
Right?
Yeah, you're getting yourself excited, and you know what happens, right? You go play Alabama, and it was non-competitive. It was. Anybody that watched that game, it was like Alabama looked like it looked like they were, I don't even want to say Division I team. You know, they were beyond Division I. And you know, Michigan State looked like a Division III or IV team. And that's what I'm saying. I'm being realistic about it. That's why I say, okay, you never know what happens when you get there. You have to get there first. Win your conference. Win your conference first.
I'm going to tell you this. Let them bring a bowl game up here to Michigan.
I'd love to see it.
In the Midwest.
I'd love to see it.
And let's see how they play up here in our weather. I bet it'd be more competitive.
I'd love to see it.
No, we going
in the elements?
Yeah, in the elements. Yep. They take all the elements out. There's no more elements. You know, if they would have put elements into the game, I think the games would be more suiting for the players up here.
Steve said Alabama is doing that to any team. Steve, that's my point. They're on a different level than anybody else. You know, maybe 1 year LSU will step up. They had that super team last year. Maybe Clemson will step up. Maybe an Ohio State will step up. But I think there's a reason that Nick Saban is doing what hasn't been done before.
Hold on, man. Hold on. I feel some eyes on me.
All right.
I said I feel like 4 of them.
You stopped the show from his brilliant point to do that?
Wait,
we're like three-quarters of the way through. You just got to make it through 15 minutes. That's it. Just do the rest, and that's it.
It's actually 13 minutes and some change if you can count.
Right. I'm bad with math, okay?
Since we have to take one more break as well. Let's get that. Steve brought up a great that team versus last year's LSU team would have been something. Joique, this is what we've talked about, and I have hammered this home to people. If you are still one of those people that wants to play the defense wins championships games, listen, you got to wake the hell up. I don't know what you're watching anymore, man. Seriously, I'm not like, I can't even be funny about it anymore. Back in my day, defense won championship. Well, there's a reason it was back in your day. It's all about the offense now, man. If you aren't paying attention unless you can see that.
You had to do the rest of the show and the guy from Canada Voice.
In the old man. Oh, Don Cherry. Listen, tomorrow, you kids out there, don't forget. Coming up at 5:30, we got a great triple header action tomorrow. Joique, my guy right there. Joique, put her there, Joique.
Put it there.
Steve, I'm with you. I mean, you watched LSU last year. Defense is optional. You watch Alabama this year. Defense is optional. That doesn't mean they can't play defense, but it's not this big, bad, ferocious defense. This is what college football is, and the NFL's moving that way. If we want to be completely honest, the NFL's moving that way. You're still you got a really good defense.
What way are they
still
moving? What way are they moving?
They're moving offensive. They're
Okay.
moving offensive.
They are.
No doubt. They're not where college is. I mean, college is here.
Yeah.
College is.
I feel like college has always been. I mean, they've been there for a while. I'm not gonna say they've always been there, but they've been there for a while though.
Grammy Whammy said, Joique and Art, you almost made it. You guys came so close to not bickering today.
Joique had to ruin it. We literally have 12 minutes left, and you had to go, I see some beady eyes on me. I don't know where it's coming from there, Hoss. Just stop. Just
He
give
was
it up.
looking at me.
We had such a great show. Rip Hamilton. Yeah, everything. And then 12 minutes left, and you want to start talking crap.
Yeah, man. I can't, man. I just felt eyes on him, and he was just like, it was. And I felt something. I'm like, what?
You turned around and looked at me. How can you feel eyes on you if you're facing the right way?
You know, it felt ugh. I just felt ugh, and I just looked around. He was just.
I'm waiting to see if you have some critique. Maybe tell me that I look great today. I wore longer socks for you today, just for you. I mean, what else do you want? Can we go to commercial break?
Yes, we can
please?
go to commercial break.
Let's go to commercial
break. I'm going to bring Grammy Whammy. I'm going to bring peace between these two.
We're going to bring you on, Grammy Whammy.
Yeah, oh, for sure. But I'm going to bring peace between these two.
And as long as you make a butter roll, I'll be good. You make that butter roll. You make that butter roll for your grandbaby.
She just can't come visit you, just as she has to bring something.
She said, "You two, you two are hilarious. You two are hilarious."
We'll come back, wrap it up on a Tuesday morning, afternoon, whatever it is. Joique Bell, Sean Baligian, Woodward Sports.
Love you, Grammy Whammy.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand.
Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
Hire a graduate of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Put Artemis.
Just talks during the break. And we're literally trying to do a show here, and he just talks right at the end of the commercial.
Oh, my bad. I was just talking to Sean about if I was, when you saw when I hit that ball across 75.
I had a nightmare about it. Like,
did?
I woke up in the middle of the night screaming.
Have you ever seen a water boy when they say you have to imagine somebody on the defense? On the offense.
My mama said yes.
My mama said. When I had that T on it, I imagine Art here right there.
One day I'm going to do all of you a favor. You guys that watch and listen to us every day, I'm going to do all of you a favor, and I'm going to sit where Art is, and I'm going to let Art stand here, and I'm just going to have the Art and Joique show. That's what you guys want. You guys want to see Art and
you've
Joique.
got great ideas.
Did he raise his hand?
I did actually, but you can't see me. But you should be able to see my little tiny eyes beating on you.
Yeah, I did. But did he point at you?
He did. He did.
No, he didn't point at you. He didn't point at you.
The Art and Joique show, or the Joique and Art, whatever.
Drive for show, putt for dough.
One day that we have to do that, I'm just going to sit back there, and I'm gonna play the role of Art, and I'm going to raise my hand, and I'm going to point and things like that. But that one day we have to do that. Yeah. I have a secret plan for these two that they don't know about yet, though. I'm going to bring peace.
No, you're not about to bring me over to your house and have Art over there, are you? That's what you're trying to do? I know what you're trying to do.
He couldn't be blessed enough. Yeah. I want a talent fee when I show up. If I got to hang out with Joique, you're paying me. Double. Triple what I'm making right now, and it ain't enough.
You guys blew out my master plan, man. Barbecue. It's like that picture with Bill Clinton bringing together the leaders of the Middle East. That's what I want. I want the handshake between Joique and Art, and I'm like standing between them.
You think I'm gonna touch that hand?
So do you know
what goes on with that hand?
Was the 2020 CFB season worth it? What are your thoughts, Baligian? I mean, you're holding up the show. Let's be honest.
Let's talk about the show. Butter. You know what though? Every time Art started talking, our views go down. Art, I need you to be quiet. Every time he comes in, we were just at 40 views, now we down to 15.
This is like an hour and 40 minutes of just pent-up aggression with him.
I can't believe we
Kenny said we need an intervention.
Yeah, I'm trying. Seriously, I gave everybody a date. I do these barbecues like 2 or 3 times a year where I invite, my friends over, my family over, and we chill out at my house, and I say, this isn't about bringing anything. just bring yourself. My buddies and I like to cook. Like we have a group of friends. Like we like to do it.
But
we want to cook for you.
But are you guys real friends though? Do you guys just talk? Are you guys real friends? Like,
I think we're real friends.
Yeah.
I think.
Baligian, can I say something?
Yes,
My hands
Art
up. So
has
you and
hands
I
up.
had talked earlier, and I said, hey, do you mind if I bring my wife? And you're like, absolutely, it's not a problem. The one thing that I can't deal with, if Joique's going to be there and he punks me in front of my own wife, we'll leave early. We'll leave her. I got to go. Like, you got to calm me down.
That's probably why she doesn't watch the show.
She doesn't watch anything I do, let's be honest.
She doesn't support him because she knows
At
he's,
this point, Joique is my biggest supporter.
she knows he's not anything. He's no good.
No, she's taking care of the triplets at home. But what I'm saying is this: like,
She can put your show on and just, and just listen in the background. She's just like, I don't want to hear his voice. He's gone. This is perfect. Like when you come home, it's just like, I think she fake sleep.
I should have never said nothing. I should have kept my mouth shut. Thank you to the chat too for making this a thing because we could have. It's the chat's fault. It's the chat's fault.
Hey, babe, did you make dinner?
I'm so done with you. I'm so done with you. It's like doubled up. This is the worst.
So Joique, you figured it out. I just figured, you know what? If I make some barbecue, have a good time, do some vegan stuff for you.
I'm taking the topic down.
Maybe we can have some peace, but a lot of work to be done. A lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
No, you know what? Art, was this your question or was this Kennedy's question?
It was a question that was put up. Yeah, was the 2020 CFB season worth it? Scenarios did not reach the worst case, but was it, it was far from great, obviously. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Yes. And I'll tell you why, because, again, if we're being honest and we looked at what some experts were saying and what a lot of college football people were saying, I mean, you were talking about mass sickness, God forbid anybody dying or anything like that. It went better than any of us could envision. It didn't mean, Art, I like the way that you said that. It didn't mean that there weren't hitches. There were hitches, and there were games lost, and there were guys that got very sick. But did it go better than any of us thought, Joique? I think the answer to that is yes.
I think it did. I think they did a great job in making sure that the season didn't end, right? And they worked around it. Like you said, there were hitches, but I think it was worth it. But like you said, it was hitches, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
You know what it was for me? I needed, and I told you guys this, like I got loopy during the whole lockdown thing, and that's why my buddies and I started like the barbecue thing. We needed to do something else.
Right.
Humans aren't meant to be locked up, so we all kind of created our own bubble. That first Saturday that I could turn on college football, even if it was just the SEC at the time, okay?
Right.
It was beautiful. I needed it. My soul needed it. It was like, I mean, I know that sounds
Did you need it or
cheesy.
did you want it?
No, I needed it. For me, I needed it because I was so upset that I wasn't doing Wayne State. I was so upset there was no Big Ten. I was so upset, man, I would have loved to have driven up to Michigan State. Would have loved to have driven over to Ann Arbor, whatever the case may be. So, I felt so bummed out in September that, when it came back, I don't care if it was Ole Miss and Texas A&M.
You just want to watch football.
I wanted some sense of normalcy.
Right.
And so in that regard, I think from a psychological standpoint, it was good.
Yeah,
it was good. I think we all needed it in that certain regard,
Yeah, we did. I think we all did.
Per usual, everybody is talking about Art and Joique. That's Art and Joique, your relationship affects me negatively in the following ways. That's that. Right?
No. Laugh a lot.
Know your role. Shut your mouth.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's.
Don't encourage him.
Jenna said, "Can I come play ref between Art and Joique?"
Yeah.
Listen, I know my role here. I know my role. I need to shut my mouth. One day we're gonna have Art and Joique, and they're just gonna bicker.
Because we need the all-star. We need someone up at the desk that knows what they're doing, and that's you.
Do I have to moderate?
Huh?
No.
No.
I don't think Joique could run the computer over here, so it's like, you guys.
You can't even do it. Where's Adam? You got to call him back in here again?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is my second show I'm running today.
Hold up. What happened? Adam, this happened again. Adam. Adam was coming up here turning down my mic. I'm like, golly. All right,
Actually, I'm the one who adjusted.
Are you not picking? Are you not picking up on this? Are you not picking up on this? You got one job. You got one job back there. Get people on the big screen and make sure my mic sounds good. That's it.
my gosh!
Great job today, Baligian.
Hey, no, I give Art a hard time, but deep down inside, I really don't like him. So. Deep down.
We almost had it.
He thought.
I fell for it. I thought you were getting ready to say something nice.
Got him, coach.
Oh my goodness! You know what's nice, Jenna? Thank you. You guys make my day better. That's the best compliment that somebody can get. So thank you for that. Seriously, it's we all need to smile more and take ourselves less seriously, for sure. We're going to talk some NFL draft tomorrow. Obviously, last night there are just a slew of guys who were involved in that. We have to talk about the carousel with the Lions as well. Maybe I'll ask my boy if he wants to come in tomorrow, talk a little draft, and talk about Scott Bischoff.
Scott,
who's
he'll
on with
come
us.
back. He loves us.
He loves you. We'll have him come back in, talk a little draft and everything. I am just ecstatic. The one guy that I've been talking about for like a month and a half, Ed Dodds is actually reportedly interviewing with the Lions, and that is huge because this is a guy that has basically said no to everybody. Joique, he doesn't even like to interview because he's happy doing what he's doing. So the mere fact that the Lions are reportedly interviewing with him, that brings me great joy. This is a guy that has the potential to be a great general manager. He's been a great number 2 for many, many years.
Good. Just to kind of harp on what you said, how you needed football.
Yeah.
The guy said, I was so desperate. No, Kenny said, I was so desperate for live sports. I was watching cornhole on ESPN over the summer.
Yep.
Hilarious.
Right?
I was watching darts, cornhole. They had cornhole.
Steve said Art's eyes brightened up, and then Joique killed his soul. Yeah, that's pretty much what happened just a couple minutes ago.
Yeah.
Art, thank you. Joique, thank you. Fish, thank you. Everybody, thank you. We'll talk to you soon. Say your goodbyes.
All right. I'm Joique Bell. That's Sean Baligian. Gang, gang.